Something changed the moment Lewis Hamilton stepped out of the 2026 Ferrari. Not a lap time, not a headline, a feeling. And in Formula One, feelings are dangerous, because they usually mean a shift is already underway. For the first time since the brutal ground effect era began, Hamilton described a new generation of cars as genuinely enjoyable to drive. Oversteery, snappy, sliding, yet somehow easier to control. In his own words, the new machines are simply more fun. That one sentence might sound harmless. But in Formula One, enjoyment is never just emotion. It's information. And information changes championships. Because here's the part most fans missed. Hamilton didn't just smile after testing. He felt something he hasn't felt in years. Belief inside Ferrari. He spoke about a renewed winning mentality throughout the team. A collective confidence stronger than anything he'd sensed before. And when a 7-time world champion starts talking like that, the entire grid should pay attention. But before we go further, pause for a second and ask yourself one uncomfortable question. What if 2026 isn't just another season, but the final real window for Hamilton to change history? Because the numbers behind this moment are brutal. Ferrari went through the entire 2025 season without a single win, and Hamilton missed the podium for the first time in his career. That isn't just a slump, that's a warning sign. And yet, just months later, he climbs into a radically redesigned Ferrari, completes strong mileage in testing, and suddenly sounds different, optimistic, energized, dangerous again. So what changed? To understand that, you have to understand 2026 itself. Because Formula One didn't just tweak the rules, it rewrote the philosophy of the sport. The new cars are shorter, lighter, and more nimble, designed to corner faster and race closer. Active aerodynamics, new engines, revised fuel systems, and entirely new chassis concepts are all arriving at once. One of the biggest technical resets in modern F1 history. Even overtaking is being reinvented, with a strategic power boost system replacing the doctors that defined racing for over a decade. In other words, 2026 isn't an upgrade, it's a reset button. And resets create chaos. Chaos creates opportunity. Opportunity creates champions. But here's where the story gets complicated, because not every driver is celebrating. Charles Leclerc, Ferrari's own star, warned the new cars might not be especially enjoyable to race. So now we have a contradiction inside the same team. One driver feels excitement, another feels concern. And in Formula One, contradictions usually mean one thing. Someone is right and someone is about to lose. Think about the psychological stakes here. Hamilton is 41. Every season now carries the quiet possibility of being the last. Even legends inside the sport have suggested he could walk away early if results don't return or motivation fades. So when a driver in that position suddenly rediscovers joy behind the wheel, that isn't nostalgia, that's survival instinct. But survival alone doesn't win championships. Performance does. And this is where Barcelona becomes important. Behind closed doors, no media, no fans, the 2026 era truly began. Ferrari quietly emerged near the top of the timing screens, creating cautious optimism across the paddock. Yet insiders immediately warned, shakedowns are about reliability, not speed. Illusions are easy in February. Reality arrives in Melbourne. So the real question isn't whether Ferrari looked fast. It's whether this feeling Hamilton sensed is real. And here's the deeper layer nobody is talking about. If the new regulations truly reward driver control, sliding, catching, managing instability, then they favor experience. They favor instinct. They favor drivers who learned racing before simulations did the thinking. Drivers like Lewis Hamilton. Suddenly, the narrative flips. Instead of time working against him, the rules might be working for him. But Formula One never allows simple stories. Because while Ferrari searches for redemption, rivals are already fighting a different war. Mercedes and Red Bull are facing accusations of exploiting engine loopholes that could deliver measurable lap time gains, possibly up to 0.3 of a second. That's not a detail. That's the difference between pole position and invisibility. Mercedes insists everything is legal. Rivals aren't convinced. And the FIA sits in the middle, watching a political storm build before the season even begins. So now the 2026 story has 3 layers at once. A legendary driver searching for one last peak. A historic team chasing redemption. and a technical controversy that could reshape the competitive order. This isn't just a season. It's a collision, and collisions create moments that define eras. But let's slow down for a second, because this is the point where most F1 stories usually fade into statistics. Not this one, because the most important detail isn't the car. It isn't the lap time. It isn't even Ferrari. It's emotion. When Hamilton talked about the new Ferrari, he didn't sound like a driver calculating points. He sounded like a racer rediscovering something he thought was gone. And that changes everything. Because motivation in Formula One is invisible until suddenly it isn't. Now here's where you come in. Do you actually believe Hamilton can fight for another title in 2026? Or is this just the final spark before the lights go out? Tell me honestly in the comments. I read them all, especially the controversial ones. And if you're enjoying this deep dive so far, you already know what to do. Tap like so the algorithm stops pretending F1 politics isn't the most dramatic show on earth. And if you secretly want more stories the media only explains halfway, you might want to subscribe. Just saying. No pressure. Mild psychological manipulation. Totally normal. Because the final piece of this puzzle is still ahead. And it's the one that decides whether this story ends in glory or goodbye. Here's the truth most headlines won't say out loud. 2026 is not just another championship opportunity for Hamilton. It may be the last environment where his style of driving truly fits the sport. If these lighter, more agile cars reward precision and instinct, then experience becomes power again. And if Ferrari really has rebuilt its internal belief, then momentum becomes real. But Formula One history is ruthless. Hope appears every winter. Reality arrives every Sunday. So imagine two possible futures. In the first, Ferrari's optimism proves justified. The new rules compress the field. Hamilton adapts instantly. And the sport witnesses one of the greatest late-career comebacks in history. An 8th title, a rewritten legacy, a final chapter no one thought possible. But in the second future, the testing smiles fade, rivals unlock hidden speed, and the feeling Hamilton sensed in Barcelona becomes just another illusion February created. And if that happens, the question won't be whether he can win again. It will be whether he stays at all. That's why this moment matters more than it looks. Because sometimes the smallest feeling inside a cockpit is actually the first signal of a seismic shift. Hamilton felt something in the 2026 car. Not certainty, not victory, but possibility. And in Formula One, possibility is the most dangerous force of all. Because once a legend believes again, history has a strange habit of listening. And if you want to see the next hidden power shift already forming on the grid, the one nobody is connecting to this story yet, watch the video on your screen now. Because the 2026 season might already be decided, and almost nobody realizes why.